Hey Glam fam, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. I'm going to share a story time of when I was inpatient at Tirr Rehabilitation Hospital. This is my parents and I on our first day, and my nurse who welcomed me, my therapist who welcomed me with open arms. And this was a few days after our first day. I had to be tested for this go-kart type wheelchair. And here is my schedule. When I say it kicked into overdrive, it kicked into overdrive. I was seeing therapists almost 4 times a day. So plan with me and I will continue sharing the journey of my stay at Tirr. Of course, today is Tuesday the 21st. I was having fun with family on yesterday, so I wasn't able to do the recording and planning like I planned, but never too late. So here we go. Back in December 2014, I left from the hospital, Memorial Hermann, after being there for a week and a half and then not knowing why I could not stand up on my own or even sit up without assistance. I was admitted into Tirr Rehabilitation Center, and my stay was extremely extraordinary. I had several therapists. I had an OT, I had physical therapist, occupational therapist. I had also a, I don't know if I should call her my psychologist, but we had someone from social work like come and talk to me every day to see like where my head space was, and it was cool. I wasn't in too dark of a place yet. Of course, you all know I'm sharing my journey with you in bits and phases, so stick with me, stay tuned on this channel, and you will catch each phase of my journey. At the time that I was here, we had to learn they taught me how to transition from that mobile chair that you saw, motorized wheelchair, I guess, from my bed to that to like the restroom, and also I don't know what they call it, but it was like a big mat that they could use like hydraulics with for us to transition from our mobile devices to this mat and then do whatever therapy session that we had to do at that time, whether it was OT or PT, occupational or physical. And I don't know the proper terminology. I do not remember. I don't have that many photos from this time or video because it was some years ago and I've changed phones and I cannot find all of my photos, unfortunately. Anyway, back to the story. Those were one of the main goals, was to teach me how to transition, teach me how to use other tools to be able to do the basics, like get up and brush my teeth, go to the restroom, wash my face. I had to have assistance for some years in bathing myself. It was something that I couldn't do on my own in the beginning because the movement towards my spine or in that area, like just trying to clean the backside of myself or the lower part of my body was extremely hard to do. So I always had to have help. And my family, when I tell you, they were rock solid, always there to support. My mom never left my side. They rotated, but it was a blessing to have them as my support system and have great nurses. I had nurses that genuinely cared for me and cared how I felt. I will be honest, it was very embarrassing to jump from being independent to now I have to depend on people to do things for me, direct me how to do certain things. And my new way of life was with devices, whether it had been a mobile chair, a wheelchair, a walker, braces, canes, grabbers, things to pick my leg, tools to pick my legs up with. Like, it was a lot to transition from. So my headspace at this time was very, I'm going to say clouded and very, I was scared because I was in a state of unknown. I didn't know what was going on, how to handle things, how to even manage all of the feelings that I was dealing with, let alone transition from being independent to now I'm dependent on others for almost everything, even the basics of grooming myself. So in therapy, we did like exercises that would strengthen certain areas of my body. At the time, I had like extreme pain. When I say extreme, like I felt like my spine was being ripped out of my back. So I, in Tirr, started to get these steroid injections in my spine in the areas that were affected. And I had got them maybe, I don't know, guys. I don't want to say a number and be incorrect, but it was several. I do recall, and I had wrote about it because my memory was starting to fade a little then. So I was keeping a journal of what all was going on every day. One great thing that I learned at Tirr was to document what I was going through at the time, and it led me to be stronger in self-advocating for myself. Later in another video, I'll go into details about self-advocacy. So back to the story. We in PT, I did things to learn how to just stand. I was at the phases of just trying to get to the standing position or transitional position. During my inpatient stay, I didn't do much of the walking because of the extreme pain in my spine. I later did that in outpatient. But it was really nice. I learned a lot, and I had a lot of home exercises to go home with after my stay at Tirr, which was great for me. During the time there, when I tell you, it was like a flood of people were so supportive. My brother put a post out. I was in between financially, and I had to pay for like my medication, the doctor visits, a little bit of my stay at Tirr. So a lot of people, old classmates, old friends, they had contributed. They did this GoFundMe thing, and it had blessed me to be able to care for myself a few years later. So during that time, I'm so grateful that I had that much support. I know that there's people out there that don't have support, and I've witnessed people like reach out to me and tell me that, and to hear how that feels, I couldn't even imagine. So as you all will find out in more videos to come, that's where the passion for me wanting to help others started. I felt like if I could get through this darkest moment in my life, I want to be able to help somebody else get through theirs. I had so much support. I was blessed. I want to be able to turn around and be a blessing to somebody else. But I had to go through some healing before that actually started. So years down the line, that's when that took place. I tried doing little things here and there to be a help and a support to others, but I can't say that it was as strong as it had gotten years later. But at Tirr, I did do a few water therapy sessions, but I did more in my outpatient later. But I did a few where we did like floating exercises that would help me like relax the spine. And they say that when you're in the water, the impact of your workout or your regime is not as hard on your body as it is outside of the water. So that was another thing that was quite helpful, being able to go to the water therapy sessions, because on those days I didn't go to bed in so much pain. Now I'm gonna be real transparent with you guys. If it's too much for you, sorry. I'm an open book, and I'm gonna be real. At the time, it was difficult for me to transition. I was taking a lot of medications, and the medication had my intestines kind of not working regularly. So I had to receive assistance to defecate. And as embarrassing as it was times that we couldn't get to the restroom because I was in too much pain, or I was just locked and couldn't move or unmobile. And everything had to be done in the bed. And there was some, great nurses that never came in, like scrounging up their nose because of the stink. Like, it's so embarrassing to have to be broken down to the place where someone has to care for you like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not your parent, it's not your sibling, it's a complete stranger. Oh, it was so embarrassing for me. But all of the nurses that were there, they were so kind, so sweet. Sometimes I would cry when they would have to come and clean me up because I was just so embarrassed that here I am. At the time, I wasn't even 35 yet. Here I am, and somebody has to clean up after me. Y'all, I don't know. Some people may be okay with that. That's never okay with me. That's been something that I've always fought for, was the independence, just to care for myself in that way. But I'm grateful that the staff at Tirr was so warm to me, and they didn't shun me or make me feel bad during that phase of my journey. It's rough. Some things that I recall reading about that I wrote while I was in there was it would be people that would just come by and talk to us to see how we were doing, and the other patients that were within the building, inpatient as well too. When we would see each other in our sessions or in between our sessions, we would wave at each other or support one another and say, "You're doing a good job, I'm proud of you," or "You're doing better than yesterday." And oh my gosh, that was also a push. Another thing for me, when I saw everyone else around me going through worse than what I was, it gave me a push like, "Dawn, you have no excuse. You're going to fight." And it was days I was in so much pain, I wouldn't want to get up and go to therapy. One of my therapists would come sit at the edge of the bed and "You don't have a choice. You're getting up today. Come on, let's go." And I would not want to go, but she was so sweet to me and was like, "Okay, Dawn, let's get it." And she could tell I had an attitude. I never was mouthy or disrespectful, but she could tell I kind of had an attitude and just didn't want to be in therapy that day. But soon as I would hit the floor where everyone else was, and I would see people that couldn't do half of what I was able to do, it was like, "Dawn, get your act together and let's get this. Come on, let's fight. And then I took on an attitude of, "Dawn, you're fighting not only for yourself, you're fighting for your neighbor over there who's fighting for themselves. You're fighting for this person over there too." So it was like, I didn't want to fail myself. I didn't want to fail those around me either, because it's a serious thing when you hear people say about the energy in the room, that if someone comes in with the negative and bad energy, it'll weigh someone else down. I believe it. I believe it, or make you feel bad or sad for them. But witnessing everyone else around me, young, old, it was young kids who were athletes there, and they had to endure what we were going through in rehabilitating their bodies, and it was rough. Here is one of the nurses that just was, she blessed my heart so much. She was so sweet to me every time she came in my room, always smiling, and it was so sweet. And my job at the time, they were so kind and sent me these flowers, and y'all, I've saved that picture because I really like those flowers. And I've had that picture. I don't know why I don't have everything else, but I have that picture. So back to planning. But being around other people, seeing them excel and grow from phase to phase of their rehabilitation, it was so encouraging to continue to push. And another place where I made great friends was that cafeteria. My mom, after I would come out of water aerobics or not water aerobics, but water therapy, or come out of my therapy session, we would go to get lunch. Here's other photos of gifts that were sent. And y'all, that was a huge blessing because I needed it. And this is my arm. I used to bruise bad. I had bruises from the IVs all on my arm, my stomach. It was bad. But anyway, I healed. No complaints here. I just want you guys to see how that was. But I made great friends in the cafeteria. Every time I would go in, it's certain people that would be on duty and they would know my face. And, hey, Miss Keys, how you doing? And it just used to be a joy to just see everybody else's smiles or whatever. And it was just warm and welcoming. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I never had any bad experiences as an inpatient at Tirr, and I'm not here to give a review of them. I'm sharing with you my journey, but in case you have any questions or want to know, my time there was grand. If I had to do it all over again or refer someone to a facility or rehabilitation facility, it would be Tirr. It's very fast paced. They don't play no games. It's, hey, we gonna get it and you gonna get it and get it get it fast. I was in therapy like the 9 o'clock hour, 11 o'clock hour, break for lunch, then come back the 2 o'clock hour and the 3 o'clock hour, and I finish at 5. It was like having a job. Overall, my stay at Tirr was great, and I would recommend anyone joining them. That was the front cover of my planner, but I want to leave you guys with the question. Please comment down below. How do you or did you handle the unknown phase of your journey? Make sure you leave a comment down below. And always know that God's love is always moving in you and in myself. And I want to ask you that if you're looking for something positive, say this affirmation over yourself. It will bless you as it blessed me. I am deeply loved, divinely appointed, abundantly equipped, and profoundly cherished by God. No enemy plan, scheme, or obstacle can keep me from God's highest and best will for me. As I follow his voice, I see the invisible, accomplish the impossible, and love the unlovable. I am a living, breathing miracle because he lives in me. And if you would like to shop the pen, I make pens as therapy for myself. Visit the website here. I will put it in the description bar below. Till next time.